Well, hello guys. We are back. It is Abby and I yet again.
The hair doctor.
And I felt we were actually going to go a different direction. We had a whole other topic that we've been talking about like since December. And I was excited about that. Don't worry. It's still to come as long as she's down, as long as she's game to come back.
I'm game.
But I thought when we got done, I'm just like, I feel like we're not quite done talking about OCD yet. And Abby said she could share a little bit more just about her story too. And just like things that she experienced, just like more on a personal level, to just like talk about like how it like really affected her.
Yeah.
And just like the specific like testimony of like seeing like how bad it got for her.
Yes.
And then like where she's at now. So kind of just like diving a little bit into that deeper picture of like what was going on in your life. Because I know like you didn't have a specific trigger that like got you into this thought pattern. It was just kind of multiple. Like there.
It was multiple triggers that brought out pre-existing things.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about like how it's like manifested in your life, like over the years, and like, were there any like peaks where it was like really difficult? I mean, you shared a little bit about that, like where when you were trying to get pregnant and all of that stuff, and just like, that was like a really hard time, but like where else in your life has this kind of taken you?
Well, yeah, I think that brings up a really good point, that anytime we have something in our lives where we view it as like a nervous breakdown or something, it often is something that has been there for a long time that God is just bringing to the surface. In fact, I don't remember who I was listening to the other day, but it was something with anger in a man's life. And he said, you know, God just brought something into my life, and all of a sudden he's like, why did you bring this into my life? Because now I'm so angry. And God said to him, this was always there. I'm just revealing it to you now. Yeah. So like when the heat is on is when God actually like reveals these things that were in there the whole time. Yeah. But then when they bubble up to the surface like that on such a like severe level, then you deal with them. Yeah. And so like, you know, these things that we view as like, wow, this is like a life-altering thing that just happened, and now I have all this stuff to work through, and why did God let this happen? He's refining us. Yes. It's like he's refining us with fire, because then once that pressure comes down, like you're purified. Yeah. And so like, I don't know, it's just like this purification process.
That's so good.
Yeah. I've always just had these OCD tendencies. I've had these thought patterns my whole life. My stress levels were never high enough for it to ever become like a huge issue. So you can kind of just go through your day and not ever have to deal with them until it creates such a huge life altering thing that you're like, I have to do something now. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was about 2015 or 14 or 15, somewhere in there. And my husband was finishing up nursing school, and I was working at a really stressful job at the time.
Nursing school is a lot.
Yes, it was a lot. And then there was some things where like he had to repeat a class, and I was just so like upset about that because it threw off my timeline. Yeah. And I was like, no, we can't have this, because so like I was out of control with that. I was having semi-panic attacks where at the time I didn't know they were panic attacks. Yeah. It was just the result of such a stressful job. A stressful job in general can create panic attacks and anxiety and that type of thing. But then we had, you know, these other personal struggles. And then we were like, you know what, even though you have to repeat this, which he didn't end up having to repeat it, which was a miracle. However, in that time frame, we were like, well, let's just try to have a baby anyways, because we'll be okay. So we were let's just add to the stress of this by adding a new family member.
Oh my goodness.
And so going off of my medications. So oh my gosh, aren't they? Like, why do we do the things? Like, let's just grab for control, even though it doesn't make sense.
And it's funny how we look to that thing or that baby.
I know
that's going to like fix things or make things better.
Yeah.
And Lord knows, as you and I both have 9-year-olds, that adds a whole lot of stress.
Oh, it sure does. It sure changes things.
It does. And we wouldn't trade them, but my goodness, I mean, they do add their own.
Yes. It certainly doesn't fix the stress. Let's just say that.
Nope.
So yeah, I'm already having these panic moments. I'm already having these like, oh my gosh, just get me out of here. I had a countdown on my phone of when I could leave this job.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how bad I needed my husband to be done with school.
Wow.
Was because I was like, this job is so stressful and there just wasn't anything else available. So I felt stuck.
Yeah.
And so then we're like, well, let's just try to have a baby too.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild. So I go off of these medications. And that first week was just like major withdrawal off of all of my medications. My hormones dropped. Cold turkey. Because my doctor advised me to do that. He was like, well, you're young and healthy. Just go ahead and just stop taking them. And I was like, okay. I didn't know anything. I was, 27 years old and I didn't know anything about my body at that point.
Wow.
And so that's what I did. And that first week was like, what just hit me? So like all of the stress that had been building up, I was already experiencing all of these patterns that I didn't deal with. And then I added in a major physical assault with going off of these medicines.
Wow.
That's when it all hit me. And I was like, I am not okay. I just remember sitting in a parking lot at the gym and I didn't even go into the gym. I just remember thinking, what happened to my mind and what happened to me? Because this is literally awful. And I think I actually need help.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in my life where I had ever felt like anxiety or like that something was wrong. And like the fear was so paralyzing that I wasn't even like functioning. I started like creating phobias around my work and around like hand washing and germs and taking out the trash. And like, it was ridiculous. You could have watched me take out the trash and I had gloves on and I was carrying it so far away from my body. And like, I was trying not to touch anything. And then I would go wash my hands 6 times after taking out the trash. And it was something that I had done at my job for 6 years and never had a problem with until this like life altering event. And I was like, what is going on? I am not okay. And so I was really embarrassed and really ashamed. Yeah. And that's pride. My pride kept me for a long time from getting help. And I was like, I told my parents and I said, I'm really struggling with anxiety. And they didn't really know anything about anxiety at that time. And so they weren't super duper open to talking about it. And so they, like my husband and my parents were like the 2 people I kind of opened up to about it. Yeah. And they were like, I don't know what's going on. So like, I think on the surface, I hid it really well because I was able to kind of act normal, but inside I was like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Just constantly like freaking out mentally and internally. Well, I got the courage to start Googling my symptoms and anxiety, which is so OCD, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, it's not courage. Funny. It's just absolute habit of just like obsession. It's just, it's like, oh man.
It was scary for me at first.
Not to,
I know it was scary for me at first. Cause I was like, what is it going to tell me? Is it going to tell me I need
cancer
to be
at
like,
the top, a lot of times it'll do that. It'll just be like cancer right at the top. I'm like,
so it actually took like a lot of courage to Google what was going on because I was like, what's it going to tell me? And just like the fear of what the answer was going to be was like paralyzing because that's just where I was at. Well, the longer I was off of those medications, my body did start to level out. And so the intensity went down for sure. My hormones went back into a good swing and everything kind of came back. But those thinking patterns stuck around, which was interesting. So the stress was still there. I still hadn't addressed the underlying cause. of, one of the causes of like the emotional regulation and just a lot of those things. I hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
So I eventually just booked with a therapist, and that's when she slid me the pamphlet that showed me about OCD. And I hadn't actually discovered OCD online yet at that point. And I was like, oh, so then I went into this huge research of like, what can I do about this?
Yeah.
And of course,
how can I fix this?
How can I fix this? Yeah. Because we're fixers. Yes. And so I was like, I'm going to fix this perfectly, and it's going to be gone in 3 weeks. Nope. Because then by that point I was pregnant.
Oh man.
Which adds so many more worries.
Yeah.
And so,
oh Lord.
Yeah. But by that point, my hormones were like, I mean, you get all that progesterone, which calms your body actually.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me at that point.
Yeah.
And so like,
I did not feel calm.
Really?
No.
I was a little anxious about things, but I was certainly way better than before I got pregnant.
Wow. No, it amped it up to 100 for me.
Wow. No kidding. The hormones did that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the hormones helped me for a time.
Wow.
And then once I had her, when the hormones come crashing down, then I had some major postpartum anxiety, depression, OCD.
Mine was the exact opposite. Mine was all during, and then after I did great.
Crazy how hormones affect each person so differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is wild. Like, isn't it interesting in this episode, in the last episode, just talking about the different things that we've experienced, but how different our stories are at the same time.
I know.
And like, that's kind of like that. We can't ever put anyone in a box and just be like, oh, you have OCD, you must deal with it like this, or you must have anxiety or depression. And it's just like so interesting. Like, you must be pregnant and you must be really stressed out. No, actually I was really peaceful. And then like, oh, you struggled with postpartum and I didn't at all. Like, it is just so wild. Interesting.
Yes. Everybody's physiology is so different. And which brings me to another point I wanted to talk about, was the different types of OCD, because we might have listeners that are like, okay, well, those two are kind of germaphobes.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, concerned about medical conditions, and which is part of like, I'll read the different types, but there are a lot of types of OCD that are extremely, in fact, all of them are extremely common. Yeah. And so the one that we struggle with is called contamination OCD. So we have the fear of germs, illness, chemicals, or feeling unclean. And so like the common checking type behaviors with that are excessive hand washing, excessive showering, avoiding public places, avoiding touching objects. I have a friend with this who brings her own silverware to restaurants, that type of thing. And so the other one that often goes hand in hand with that is the health anxiety OCD.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I have that one too.
Yeah, that's my main one.
Yes.
Like the other one, like the germ thing, very low, very minor.
Oh, okay.
Super minor.
Okay.
Yeah, like the other day at Quick Trip, like I threw some trash out and I saw like there was like a glove at the top, and I'm just like, oh, gross. And I like had the thought of just like, oh, I don't even want to put my stuff in this trash can because I see a glove right there.
Yep.
But yeah, mine is absolutely the subtype, which is like the health related OCD, health concern.
Yeah.
The germs, not so much. Yeah.
And that's where like, you're constantly afraid of like a medical condition happening, and then having to check.
Like a major.
Yeah. Like a major. And then, having to check, constantly, or there's checkers and then there's avoiders. So the checkers are the ones that are in the doctor every 10 minutes. And then there's the avoiders who are so scared of that they just never go. Yeah. And so like you can fall on both ends of that spectrum.
I'm so like I'm like looking at the Google definition of like health related OCD right now. And it says right at the top, common obsessions, fear of specific diseases, cancer, HIV, interpreting minor sensations, headaches, rashes as fatal, fear that body noise means illness, and fear of dying young, repeatedly checking pulse, skin, or other body parts for changes. Yep. Excessive doctor visits, demanding medical tests, or asking loved ones for reassurance. I mean, I can't tell you over the years how many times I have looked at my husband. Am I going to be be okay?
Yes.
Is everything okay?
Yes.
I don't feel safe in my body, you know, and I told him yesterday, I said, I actually need you to be the one to tell me if this thing needs to be checked out.
I do the same thing with my husband, Monique, also, because yes,
well,
what
lucky.
you just,
you got a medical person.
It's worse. It's worse that way because then you it doesn't matter who reassures you. You always doubt.
You probably don't trust him either.
Right. You always doubt that they have just missed something. It's the uncertainty.
Yes.
But no, everything that you just read on that list, I've had that since I was probably 5 years old. Like the body noise, feeling a weird heartbeat.
Yes.
It must mean that I now have AFib.
Yes.
Or feeling a weird something in my stomach region must mean I have pancreatic cancer.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
The interpreting body noise,
it's way too real.
Constantly checking the pulse. That was me as a child.
Wow.
As a child. So when I say this was something that was here with me the whole time, it just wasn't revealed to me until things were so crazy that I now had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Just like the man with the anger.
Wow.
And so he brought it to the surface, or just circumstances did, and God used it in my life.
So that's the cool part, because God knew you were ready to heal.
You know, I didn't feel like I was, but he wanted to bring me to that healing. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes the condition has to get bad enough to where you're like, I got to address this now.
Yeah.
And I let it draw on for a long time before I was willing to lower my pride and actually seek help.
Well, and I think that prior generation really has not had the emphasis on, mental health.
Yes.
Like our generation so desperately needs.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of like parents just not seeking help.
Yeah.
And that generation, of just not realizing resources or realizing the importance, or maybe not struggling with it at all. So not even knowing about resources out there.
Right.
But for me, I find it so interesting that it's just this is a time that God is bringing mental health to the surface to be this needs to be dealt with for my people.
Yes.
Because I just see that verse, peace I leave with you.
Yeah.
He wants us to live in peace.
He does.
And so I would encourage listeners listening to this too. It's just don't be prideful. Yeah. Whatever age you're at, if you are 60 and you're dealing with things, if you are 12 and you're dealing with things, whatever age range you're at, it's never too late or too soon to be God, I need help, bring resources and seek help.
Yes.
Amen. And if there's one person that you've been seeing for a while and maybe God's telling you hey, now it's time to see this person, be open to that.
Yeah.
Just be open to the leading of the Holy Spirit. I am really excited about the new therapist that I'm seeing, and just the specific brain tapping and methods that she uses, because I've seen it work so powerfully in my friend's life.
Cool.
And I'm just excited to dive into this.
I've never visited any of that. I went to 2 therapy sessions.
Yeah. That
was my experience with therapy. I didn't find it helpful at all for me. All of my healing came through self-help.
Wow.
And so self-help books, and then just a culmination of, honestly, it was a lot of reading. And because that's just, and sometimes
you're a reader.
I'm a reader, and sometimes it wasn't always reading specifically for OCD. It was reading for other things that God would just add to my basket of skills. Yeah. So I never did any of the formalized, and I'm not saying that that's the wrong way, but I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And
it's just more proof that our journeys can be so different. And that God will give us the resources that we need
100%.
when we give it to him.
Yes.
And we ask, we're what do I need to do?
Yes.
And Lord, guide me. And then he's so good at guiding us.
He is so good. I think he also knows that I would be stressed out having to go in and do something like that. So he just, he helps us in the way that he knows that we need the most.
Yes.
But so those are the 2 main things, the 2 main subtypes of OCD that I mainly struggled with, but there are more. Yeah. And I personally know people that have these other subtypes. Yeah. So the next one is checking OCD. And so the common behaviors are checking locks, making sure that your oven is off, checking emails to make sure that messages were sent correctly, rereading or verifying your work many times. Oh my gosh, I do that.
Yeah, I was learning a new type she has right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing with OCD is that like there are many different types, but like I listened to an OCD podcast, which I should share on here.
You should.
Very good. And he also says that a lot of different types they'll kind of flow into each other.
Yeah.
And so like just like rereading, if you kind of have the OCD personality, it's kind of like a thing. Like,
what was his podcast that
his name is Mark DeJesus, and his podcast is like, I think it's called The Healing and Freedom Journey.
Okay.
And he personally has relationship OCD and religious OCD.
Oh, that's a big one.
I did not know that one was a type at all.
I didn't either.
And I don't feel that I struggle with religious OCD.
Yeah.
And I don't struggle with relationship OCD. But those are the two main subtypes that he struggled with. But he works with people with all types of OCD. His podcast is fantastic.
Yeah.
Every single
Healing
episode.
And Freedom podcast.
Healing and Freedom.
Yeah.
Yes. And he is so awesome. And he has a book. It's very good. He takes you through his entire personal journey with OCD. And so he was even a pastor when he found out that he had it, and he was going into patterns. So like I know we're kind of explaining the different types of OCD. Religious OCD is kind of characterized by like always feeling like you're ticking God off, basically. He was always confessing things to people that weren't actually sins.
Wow.
And people were like, okay, man, what's going on with you? Like, that's not a sin. Why are you constantly confessing? It's like this constant confessing cycle, being afraid that you're not actually saved. That's a type of OCD. And oftentimes these people don't know that what they're struggling with is OCD.
Right.
They just think, I've done something wrong. God's mad at me. They just like live in this constant like paralyzing fear. And I feel like that type in particular would be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Because if you are a Christian, like that relationship with God is supposed to be so healing and helpful to you in this OCD journey, but then to like tie your faith into it is really difficult. So if there is someone listening that's like, oh, wow, that might be me, listen to Mark's podcast, listen to his book, look into religious OCD of the symptoms, because like at the end of the day, Christianity is the answer. It is true. And separating what's OCD and what is truly God is so important. And you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's nothing scary about it.
Yeah.
Even though like that journey does feel daunting, it feels scary, but I promise it's not going to be scary at the end of it. And you're going to be very pleasantly surprised.
And relationship OCD, that is like constantly checking, like with friends too, right? Like it's like that needing constant reassurance that we're cool or that everything's okay. That's like you're not mad at me.
I think that's probably a big part of it. It's a lot that could actually be more more of a friendship insecurity. Yeah. How Mark described relationship OCD was constantly checking to make sure you're with the right partner or with the right spouse.
Oh, wow.
And so these would be like maybe people who have trouble keeping relationships because they're just not sure. It's that lack of certainty. It's the emotion of uncertainty.
Isn't that crazy?
How can I be certain? How can I be certain? How can I be certain?
Wow.
Yeah. And so then that eventually drives partners away because they're like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah.
Like you like me, but how can you ever be so certain? Like,
yeah.
And so,
yes, that just sounds scary.
I know. And then another type is the just right OCD or symmetry OCD, where people are arranging things. This is the most common one where people say, oh, I'm so OCD. Like, because that little trinket needs to be moved a little bit. But that's not at all. It's like we're talking like if you don't move it, you will have an actual physical meltdown or something.
Yeah.
It's just But then that trickles into that things must always feel just right. And it's funny.
That's me.
I was like last month, years old, when I realized I have a just right thing in my life.
Yeah, 100%.
Where things on my schedule have to feel just right before I commit to them.
Wow.
And I wasn't doing things because they didn't feel just right. And I was like, because I recognized it in a friend before it, like a few months ago, I recognized that particular thing in someone else first.
Yeah.
In a slightly different context. And then I reflected on myself and I was like, oh my gosh, this schedule thing. And I think it was God that revealed it, because I'm like, why don't I ever like want to put something on my schedule? And I asked him, I'm like, why do I have this anxiety around putting something down?
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, some people get like relief from scheduling things. I get anxiety from scheduling things.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to schedule this podcast and you're just like, I'm scared.
I'm not scared about you. It's everything else. Well, it might be you too. I don't know. It's just, I'm uncertain that things will be just right that day. So can I do it? 'Cause it's not going to be just right. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's real.
It's so real. It's so real. And so like that is another place.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that I struggle with that. But somebody asked me if I could do something next week. I'm like, well, I hope I'm not feeling like I am today.
That's just it. That's just it. It's the uncertainty of, are things going to feel just right that day?
I have pulled away from doing things and like extracurriculars in the season because of that.
Yes.
You know, and because it's been so like unsteady and uncertain and just like completely discombobulated.
Yes.
There's, you know, Gary asked me recently, or said to me recently, I just want to see you happy again.
Aww.
And I'm just like, I don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And I said, I just don't feel good in my body.
Yeah.
And so if I don't feel good, I can't be happy.
Sure.
And I basically never feel 100% perfect.
Right.
So then I'm just like, basically I put a lot of emphasis, like if the eggs aren't all in the basket for feeling good, then I'm not in a good spot.
Yeah.
You know, and so we have to like get outside of that, of just being like tapping into the joy of the Lord, like pressing into him and his presence.
Even if things don't feel just right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that joy in like all circumstances kind of thing, you know?
That's just it.
Yeah.
So like, it just goes to show you how deep OCD trickles into so many other places of our lives. And there's probably even places of both of our lives that OCD has trickled that we actually don't even know yet.
Absolutely.
But like, even right now,
the schedule, you know, I'm just like, why don't I want to schedule with people? Like, you know, I see someone reaching out to me and they're like, oh, do you want to do this thing? And I'm just like,
right. And then there's the passage in the Bible that says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. So then I'm like, ooh, I'm convicted. I can't say yes because what if I don't feel just right that day? So I need to say no now.
And I never feel just right lately.
Well, that's just it. Like, you know, can we be thankful even if we don't feel just right? And can we still do the thing even if we don't feel just right? And like the answer is yeah. Yep.
And it was like to be tenacious people.
Yes. It was like last month that I realized that about myself. Wow. And like since that realization, it's changed the game for me.
Interesting.
Yes. Wow. It's really, really interesting. And even just like reading through some of these parts of OCD, it's like, oh yeah, I have that part too, and that part too, and that part too. And it's like, not all of the parts do I have, but
and not all of them are super, you know, harmful to you or anything like that. And there are things that you can live with and it's okay.
Yes.
There are some that you need more help with than others. Right. You know, like mine, where it's impacting, you know, my day-to-day life of just like, oh yep, I need
and that is what qualifies for a diagnosis, is when it impacts a significant amount of your daily life. So somebody that thinks I have some intrusive thoughts that stress me out sometimes, that's not OCD. So we're talking every day and it impacts your daily life to a significant degree. That's what qualifies for OCD. So like the people that just want to rearrange the pictures on the wall,
you're fine.
That's not it. That's not okay. it. And everybody has intrusive thoughts. Every person alive has them. It's just the person with OCD has that emotional regulation component where it stresses you out to no end, to where it actually significantly impacts your life.
Yeah.
And that can come from also being neurodivergent, which neurodivergent people notoriously have stronger emotions, and they're harder to handle. They're harder to regulate. But, you know, on the same token, like, you know, you feel love more strongly too. You feel happiness more strongly, but you also feel that anxiety more strongly too.
Yeah. The low lows and the high highs.
Yes.
You know,
For sure.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Like my husband, he's just like a very steady Eddie.
Yep.
You know, just very even, you know, and he doesn't have those roller coasters.
That must be nice.
Right? I know. Right?
Yeah. The next one is harm OCD. This is extremely common, but it's one of the more scary types. I mean, they're all scary. They're all super stressful. So this is the core fear of accidentally causing harm to yourself or someone else. So like, you know, the intrusive thought of like, you know, accidentally dropping the baby or something.
Or running into somebody and not even realizing it.
Correct.
And then keep going.
Correct. Like,
and then did I hit someone like 10 yards back?
Yep. Yep. And then like the checking would be if someone was like, they had to be certain. So they went around the neighborhood again, just to make sure that there was nobody laying on this. Like you hit a curb and then you're like, well, was it a person? You know, that's harm OCD of like, you know, and then the common behaviors are, you know, checking to make sure you didn't hurt someone, seeking reassurance that you're not dangerous, that type of thing, avoiding sharp objects like knives, that type of thing, mentally reviewing your past actions. So that one's scary because it's so like, and they seek reassurance, like to make sure I'm a safe person. But at the core of this one is the desire to be a good person. Like the true motive of this one is like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I didn't do something to harm someone versus someone who actually does want to harm someone doesn't care.
Right.
So and then the next one is equally as disturbing for the sufferer is sexual or intrusive thought OCD. So like disturbing sexual thoughts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never heard of that one.
That one's extremely common. It's one of the most common types of OCD, but you probably haven't heard of it because people probably don't want to talk about it. And so like fear of inappropriate attraction, that type of thing. Yeah. And it ties into, it's a sexual orientation OCD. Yep. Yeah, the constant checking of what if I'm gay, that type of thing.
I have heard of that. Yep. I heard about that from a friend who I think they had revealed that to them and they were like, oh, I'm dealing with this. And like, that's really, you know, feels bizarre or whatever. Very interesting.
It's really confusing because then there are people who do struggle with same-sex attraction, but then there's those who only struggle with the fear of what if I do. And so like which... you know, figuring out which one is it. Wow. And if you have a child that's in that position, that can be, you know, scary for a parent. Right. Like, you know, my child is like afraid of this. And so is it that they are same-sex attracted or are they just afraid that they're same-sex attracted? Do they just have OCD?
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
I know. Interesting stuff there.
It is.
But very highly anxiety provoking for the person suffering. So when you can like put yourself in the headspace of like, okay, these people have this thing and that it's super like shame. They feel that it's very shameful to talk about. Yeah. There are these taboo subjects of hurting other people, hurting yourself, you know, just like really dark things. Yeah. And then they're afraid to step out and seek help because they're like, what are they going to think of me? They're going to think I'm, you know, crazy. Whatever. They're thinking, they're going to think I'm crazy and then they're going to lock me away.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like this, it keeps you in your own head of like, I can't seek help because of the subject matter of these thoughts. Yeah. And so, but going back to the last episode that we just recorded, it's still solved in the exact same way. Right. You have to assess what is my physical doing right now? Am I sick? Do I have a lot of external stressors? What are my emotions? My emotions are out of control because of this uncertainty, because of all of this anxiety. I can't tolerate these strong feelings. And then spiritually, like grounding yourself in that. OCD is tricky. It's very, very hard, but there is hope. There's so much hope. Amen. And it's not a life sentence. I know people with every single one of these types of OCD.
Wow.
And because I've talked to a lot of people, I've been very open throughout the years about my OCD. And, you know, when you open up about it, you often hear other people start opening up about theirs too.
Definitely.
And when you inherently have like an understanding of the types of OCD, people feel less shame about sharing because they're like, okay, finally a safe person who knows I'm not crazy, that they know I just struggle with OCD. And then the stories come out and you're like, wow, this is actually super common to humans. And it doesn't mean anybody's a bad person. In fact, it's the opposite because they're stressed out about that thing. And well, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
You're welcome.
I really hope and believe that this is just going to open up people's minds to have conversations like this. Like you and I, like, yes, we're recording a podcast. We're having a conversation. We're talking about how it's impacted our lives. I'm believing that other people are going to listen. And I hope that they are brave to reach out to a friend and say like, hey, I'm struggling in this. Like, you know, have you ever experienced in this? Because I know that people are going to find there are other people who have struggled in that area. And so just like, you know, talk to a safe friend about this and say like, hey, I'm struggling, pray about it. Say like, God, are there specific, you know, books that maybe I should read? Is there like a specific, you know, counselor that you want to see? You know, whatever it looks like for you, just like bring God into it and 100%. Just like ask him how he wants to walk you through this. Cause we're all at varying levels, you know, with this, and he's like bringing us on this like incredible, beautiful journey. So I just encourage you all just to like press into the Lord, and he is going to help you through this. And like, if you're listening and you don't understand this, I hope that it gave you some valuable insight to help other people who might be. Amen. So, you know, feel free to share this with a friend who you might be like, oh man, I've heard them like talk about these things before, but I didn't quite know what they were talking about. And now maybe you have some insight that you can like pass this along and be like, hey, you know, check this out. Maybe this would, you know, help you. So anyway, so we hope you guys have a really great day. And just process with the Lord. Amen. He's faithful. He is faithful. Amen. Amen.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. If you liked what you heard, make sure you share it with your friends, and also subscribe so when we do release a new episode, you will be the first to know it.
And please be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a new Facebook group where you guys can come in and dive into conversation with us, ask us questions. So we would love to see you there as well.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there.